It is hotter than a devil for Herm Edwards out in the desert. Suddenly, it's hot in recruiting across the nation, just about everywhere. And if it's not, then your team is doing it wrong here in June. And of course, the hot topic in college football, not just this week, but for years to come, is going to be this new 12-team playoff. Welcome to the Voice of College Football as we break down the game we all love each and every day here at the Voice of College Football. So please, if you love collegiate football, then check out the videos. And we hope you like what you'll see as we cover the national narrative, primarily here on the main channel at the Voice of College Football. But we've got 22 team channels. So if you enjoy and love football at Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, USC, the SEC has its own channel, Alabama, Auburn, Texas A&M, LSU, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, Clemson, Florida State, or Miami, or Notre Dame, then please check out our team channels, because many times we produce content focused on those teams that you're not going to see here on the main channel. We had to clean it up here recently and just provide the national narrative, which right now what I'm doing is I'm going through each playoff season, 2014 through 2020, and applying that 12-team playoff proposal that we saw introduced the other day by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Also, just in recent days, I've released my top 25 quarterbacks for 2021 and my top 25 running backs for 2021, working on wide receivers now, and I will get to all the positional units across college football, my top 25. In past off seasons, I've released my top 10, but I've expanded to top 25. I started to look at those quarterbacks and thought, you know what, I want to talk about all these guys. So now I have tied myself to a top 25 for all the positions. So your top 25 offensive linemen are coming. Maybe we'll do the top 25 guards, the top 25 centers, the top 25 offensive linemen, because you know the way we attack it here at the Voice of College Football is we go full throttle for you, the hardcore fan. So welcome in, leave your comments and your questions there in the live chat. I will get to them as we address the college football playoff, the scandal that's brewing at Arizona State that I really can't speak to right now because I have been on live streams for the last 2 hours with Florida State and Oregon, and I saw that news was breaking. I have not read one sentence on it, but that is the latest from the Pac-12 and Arizona State. And then, of course, recruiting is ongoing all over the place. Please check out our team-specific shows that we provide live every week. That is Nebraska every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Check that out. Today we had Florida State at 6, Oregon at 8. Tomorrow, Ohio State hits the stage at 2 o'clock Eastern time. And then we've got a couple Miami presentations at 5 and at 7. Our Oklahoma show is every Friday at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central, right here at the Voice of College Football. You can give me a call, of course, at 860-499-3332. I will post that number to the screen here shortly. Moonbot7 jumped in here first. Yo-yo. Buckeye River Rat up north. Hi, Mark Rogers. Been a while since I was here. We missed you, Buckeye River Rat up north. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Fortunately, it's not been a long time for Cheryl. I think Cheryl was in on our Florida State and Oregon live streams already tonight. So, Cheryl, thank you so much for being here. Of course, you know that. D-Rock Irish is all over the place as well. Busy night from Irish Breakdown. Brian Driscoll does an amazing job, of course, to the Oregon podcast, and back to MarkRogersTV, where college football is 24/7. Here we are. McD getting the work in. The Ron Farva as well. George, good to see you. George is the king of the quip on YouTube. Just nobody can keep up with George. And then I am often amused at George, I got to say, when people respond to you in the comments section, not here on the live chat, but when you leave comments to videos, and then some people will not be able to necessarily keep up with George, or they misunderstand him because they don't get the sarcasm. And then George is able to even one-up them again. It's amazing. Talk is Pitt. Hello, Mark. Pitt has been on a recruiting tear. 5 commits in one day. Biggest one is Jimmy Scott, defensive end from New York. We'll have to look him up. George says he was like number 9. That's certainly something to be proud of, George. Thank you so much for that, being in the top 10. Being a Florida Gator, number 9 would probably be in your range. Moonbot7 says, I'm curious to check out to 94 through 99 to see how it would have looked in a playoff format. Okay, so I think you guys know me well enough that know I'm enough of a nerd, and that's why I've given up a career to start one here talking college football all the time, and I've got a call coming in. We will get to that in just a second. That I would go through every year to, number 1, talk about disputed national championships, which I love to do. Check out the videos on 1983, 84, 90, 91, 96, and 2000, but also to now apply this 12-team playoff proposal, which I half love, half hate. Did you check out the video? Please do. And apply it to all those seasons. But unfortunately, if the videos don't get the views, then we're not going all the way back for 25 years and going to review those. And for some reason, you folks did not take to 2019. So we released 2020 yesterday, 2019. I'm going to do 2018 here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that out for tomorrow because I'm really not, after all these live streams consecutively, don't know if I'm going to throw that out there tomorrow. We shall see. But 2018, 17, 16, 15, and 14, I've committed myself, Moonbot, to 2014. We will take you at least through 2014, and then we'll see the performance of the videos. And if they're doing well, we should be getting 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 views on these videos. I don't know if I can take it beyond that. It's just not worth it, unfortunately. All right. Good to see Mathusi. Go Big Red. Mathusi, I got to think that you join us each Tuesday night on our Nebraska show at 7 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central time. H-Man, good to see you. The Rod Farva. Okay. Thoughts on the development on the story at Michigan involving Beauchem, Beckler, and Dr. Anderson. Harbaugh commenting that Bo would have handled it properly. However, Bo's son said he was also abused. All right. So I am not going to speak on this topic as any kind of expert. In regards to, I think common decency makes us all experts, hopefully, on the topic. It's just flat out wrong, disgusting, if that's in fact what happened. And we know we can trust the eyewitness accounts and the testimonies that what Dr. Anderson did actually did happen. So yes, disgusting, demented, disturbing, violating young men and children. Just, I shouldn't even have to speak on that. It should just make and cause all of us to cringe and practically just convulse. It's disgusting. Okay. The second layer of that would be the people that empower said person, Dr. Anderson, and allow it to go on with knowledge of it. So Beauchem Beckler, unfortunately, is not here to defend himself. And we do have Jim Harbaugh defending Beauchem Beckler. Jim Harbaugh was one of Beauchem Beckler's favorite players, and he loved Beauchem Beckler. And I say that in a positive vein. I'm not saying that he's sticking up for him just because of their relationship. But Jim Harbaugh was not around. Going all the way back to 1969 is when Beauchem Beckler's son said that he first encountered Dr. Anderson and encountered him in a very inappropriate way. The Schembechler who spoke up also has a brother, and they are estranged. This family situation dynamic, from what I understand, is very fragmented and dysfunctional. Also, we have brothers and sisters and other people within the family that do not speak to each other and have not for years. So that's all I can speak to from there. The Rod Farva, when the story first broke, if you recall, I heard about it and just immediately went live and discussed it. Since then, I had Steve Dace from Michigan Podcast on. We discussed it. I released that video, and I believe I've covered it, even though we're finding out more revelations in regards to both the defense of Beauchem Beckler, but more so the claims against Beauchem Beckler and his knowledge of these deplorable acts. So that's pretty much all I can say on that matter. We've got a call coming in. Let's get right to it. Let's hit up these phone lines. Remind everyone that, as it states on the Amazon ticker below, if you shop Amazon like 160 million Americans do every month, that number still blows me away. That's the stat of the year. 160 million Americans shop on Amazon every month. And also, Ohio State will have a starting quarterback who has not thrown a pass for the first time in 50 years. Stats of the year. That means half of you are shopping on Amazon every month. So please do, using the link in the description section. Same shopping experience. Doesn't cost you a penny. All right. Who do we have on the line? If my left clicker will work, we will soon find out. Welcome to the Voice of College Football.
Hey, Mark, it's DeAndre. How you doing?
Doing well, man.
Mark.
How's it going?
Good, man. First off, did you enjoy your vacation with your mom?
I did. Was that really a vacation? Is that what that was? No, it was a nice time. Unfortunately, my mom had to be in the hospital for 5 days. So I got to say that I was glad to be there for that, in that I was not preparing for her to be in the hospital. I went out for a visit, and then we had to rush her to the hospital, and then she was there for 5 days. So I stayed with her in the hospital for the 5 days, and I found it beyond the medical issue, a pleasure to, of course, be there for my mom. And then she got out. She's doing well. Thank you so much for all the well wishes everyone had. And so, yeah, we hung out there in the Buckeye State for about longer than I anticipated, for about 10 days. But I tried to crank out some content while I was there. As you can see, I brought some of my operation out there so I could post some videos and do some live streams. But thanks for asking, DeAndre.
And y'all should see the amazing work Mark did while he was out there taking care of his mom. So I hope y'all continue to donate to his channel, because he does an amazing job without bias than ESPN and any of the other places do. So
Thank you, sir.
Well, Mark, you know what I'm about to hit. You know what I'm about to hit next.
I think I do, because you're hot on this Florida State top 5 winning streak in the rankings.
Yeah, 13 years.
Yes.
Was it 13 years or 15 years?
I think it was 1988 through 02.
So I want to start off like this. Okay, we went back and looked at BYU in 1984.
Okay.
And one of the Florida State guys replied to me. He said the reason why Florida State finished ahead of Clemson because of the strength of schedule was they played an amazing schedule that year, because they played a bunch of top 10 teams. I think they played LSU there, Miami, a couple other teams, usual suspects. I don't think Florida was ranked. But Clemson beat Florida State that year. And everybody always say, well, strength of schedule. But since strength of schedule is so important, Washington had a stronger strength of schedule in 1984 than BYU, but BYU won the national championship. And people say, well, what does that got to do anything? 1998, which I pointed out, Tulane finished undefeated. And they played a similar weak schedule like BYU did, and Florida State finished in front of them. And Wisconsin also, and I brought up 1994, the Texas A&M, and I know the Southwest Conference was weak, but Texas A&M finished 10-0-1, and I think it was Alabama was the other team that had like 11-1 record. Florida State finished in front of them. And it's not a knock at Florida State. It's more of a knock at the AP poll, because what is your standard of saying this team finished in the top 5 for 13 years straight? Because if you go look at their other polls, just like we pointed out with Alabama and Southern Cal in 1978, how do you give Alabama the national championship over USC? USC beat them on the floor, on the field, and they had the same record. So that's why I was pointing it out, how legit is their 13-year winning streak. And there's not a knock at Florida State. There's no doubt Florida State was one of the best programs in those 13 years. They had a lot of great players and a lot of great coaches. There was a great program. I was just asking that question, how legit it is, because of the inconsistency of the AP poll and their voting records for top 5 teams.
DeAndre, the kind of topics that you bring up, specifically this one, but basically every topic that you bring up are the kind of topics that I would love to talk about every day. I could go on and on about this kind of stuff. Disputed national championships and taking this 12-team playoff and trying to apply that to previous seasons to see what it would have looked like. And now this Florida State, as soon as you sent me that on Florida State, I thought, yeah, I would love to dive into that. The problem is, just like with these championship seasons, the playoff seasons that I'm looking at and applying the 12-team playoff, then I get to a particular year, or just they don't really get much of a response. So then I'm like, okay, I wasted a lot of time. Nobody's watching these videos, so I'm not going to continue to do that. But I will say this, DeAndre, what seasons are you pointing out Florida State? I got my pen right here. I'm ready. What years are in question?
Clemson 89. I think I sent it to you on Twitter. Let me pull it up on Twitter. Clemson 89. 1994. A&M was undefeated, and Bama had the same record as Florida State. Tennessee 1991. I think they lost in Colorado, who lost to Notre Dame. They all finished in front of Florida State finished in front of them. I think that was 1991. 1991 was ECU and Bama. I know everybody's gonna say ECU didn't play anybody. They lost to Illinois the first game of the year, but they were still 11-1. Bama had a better record that year, and Florida State finished in front of them. 1989, they assumed that Colorado and Tennessee, Florida State finished in front of them, and they had better records. And also finished in front of Clemson, who beat them on the field. So that's one point. It's not a knock at Florida State. It's just an unbalanced knock at what, how they picked who finished in the top 5. That's why I'm saying how legit is that 13 years.
Well, it's legit from the standpoint that even if they would have been knocked down 1 or 2 spots in those years, they would have finished 6th or 7th or whatever in the country. So it's not so much to me about did you finish in the top 4 or the top 5 for 13 consecutive years. It's that for 13 consecutive years, you were basically contending for a national championship every year. Right. Whether you finish 4th or 7th or 3rd. But I understand your deal. We could go through every poll, and I would love to, and tear it to shreds about how these people did not apply reasonable knowledge and wisdom and insight into these rankings. It doesn't make any sense half the time where these teams were ranked.
Okay. Now
I'm with you.
I want to get to yeah, it was just a thought. I wasn't actually doing the show. It was just a general conversation. I know how, I mean, you put the best people out there doing this talk show. So I kind of understand that you don't have time for that. Cause like I heard one person, and I'm not gonna say the contributor, cause I don't want to. He's like, this person does the most in college football, like his knowledge. I'm like, man, that dude don't have no knowledge. I mean, he's just somebody that just talking on the talk show. He don't have, like I said, football knowledge that you have. Sometimes it don't come out the way I want it to come out, but I know what I'm trying to say. But that person doesn't have as much football knowledge as they think they do. They're good people, though. I like talking to them when I get a chance. But
I said somebody had the most. I said somebody had the most.
No. It was another talk show.
Okay.
And it was talking about how much this person knows about football, and I'm like, this person doesn't know anything about football.
Okay.
But no, they're not on your knowledge level. I want to have something to say about the college football 12 teams. I kind of against it for several reasons. One, and I made this point, and I don't want nobody to think I'm just talking about race here, but college football plays for most of the other sports and football, like softball, golf, all the other sports, right? So college football, then I sent you a stat, is like at least 50%, 56% black. So the other sports are mainly played outside of college basketball, who brings in money. But those are two biggest revenue makers in sports. So my question is, are college football going to get cut? Are those players going to get a cut in some of the money that comes out of it? Instead of people always saying, well, they're getting a free education. Yes, that's very, very true. But at the same time, it's generating a lot of money. I mean, we've already heard in some of the Miami University videos that Miami, or the ESPN 30 for 30, Miami wasn't built like that until they start winning in college football. You know, I know Miami's a very expensive college, but they started bringing in more and more revenue. So how much are these players going to get in that revenue that's coming in? My second issue is, are you going to get rid of the conference championship games? Because that's making these players. I know people like to say, well, you know, what's it called, the non-bowl subdivision? I think they do it, but they don't play I don't think they play a championship game. And I might be wrong, but I don't think those conferences play a championship game. So I know the SWAC does, and the MEAC used to, but most of them don't play those games. So are you going to take those games away? Because that's making more revenue, and those revenues are trickling down to softball and other sports who are not played by a lot of African Americans. And what I'm saying is that those African Americans are bringing a lot of money into these sports, into those other sports. And I'm just saying, are you going to start back giving out money towards those players? And everybody say, free education. Well, we already seen, like, I give you an example, at Clemson, they're told to go take, what's it called, communications. Deshaun Watson, Watkins, all of them guys got their degrees, but all of them come from a certain department or criminal justice. Not saying these people are stupid. I'm just saying they're guided in to take those classes, just like what we saw at UNC in African American Studies. So, are these players going to get money coming out? Also, my last point is, we just saw high school kids say, "Hey, you know what? Why should I keep playing high school football? I already got my scholarship." What's going to stop these college football players who want to win national championships with saying, why should I go out there and risk myself, just like Butts with Michigan, the Ohio State guy, I can't remember. He cost himself some money, but I think he made it back up. The one that got hurt in the Fiesta Bowl. Why should they keep on playing all these games? And you're saying that the running back position has diminished in the NFL, so why should I put all that wear and tear on my body? And people say, well, the NFL look at that as like you gave up on your team. Nah, I'm trying to get to my next contract. You already seen I got enough film out there to show you how good I am, so you're going to draft me on that film. So why should they keep on playing? And would that diminish what they're going to do in the playoffs? How many players going to participate? It's just a question.
All right, so if we take this back to the revenue comment.
Right.
So why does it matter how much money is being made, that if it's ethically sound and right to pay the players, then whether they're creating $1 or $10 million or $1 billion, they should get a cut of it. So if we're going to give them a cut of the 12-team playoff, then we should be giving them a cut of what's going on already.
Yeah, and I agree, but they're not, right? I mean, I know what's it called, a license for likeness.
Yes,
that's
I was going to get into that next.
Not,
yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's the next part of this, basically, DeAndre, is that there's still being put some structure to what the rules are going to be, but the name, image, and likeness, that is going to happen. That we're already in a place where the states are approving it. It's going to happen. And therefore, yes, it's my opinion that the players are already being paid in the form of a scholarship. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be paid more. I'm not making that statement, because I understand that there are a lot of players who come from impoverished backgrounds that, yes, they can appreciate that they're getting an education for free that's worth, I don't know, just had my daughter come home after finishing up at Rhode Island, and I know what I paid for a certain portion of that, and I know what she's got left in student loan debt. So it's a lot. So they should be appreciative of that. It's worth a lot. But if you come from a poor family and you can't pay for everything else that you need to stay in college, then that's only worth so much. So we need to help them and make sure that everybody can eat and can also stay, obviously, in housing. But that shouldn't be an issue with a football player at a major university. So I think that they're already being paid, but I think the name, image, and likeness is a good thing. They are creating more revenue for the schools and for the TV networks because their name, image, and likeness can be used. They should be profiting from that. I posted a video back when Johnny Manziel was going crazy back in 2012, 9 years ago, in which I said, we should be paying these players to go down to Joe Blow's auto dealer and sign autographs. Why not? They should be able to capitalize from that.
And I agree with you, because I remember the football player out of Colorado who was a skier, and they made him give up his ski endorsements.
Yes.
And he was like, well, why are you doing that? He ended up with the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't remember his name.
Shiverini.
But yeah, that
wasn't that Darren Shiverini?
Yeah, I believe so. But and I agree with what you're saying. But I'm just looking at, if you go to the Orange Bowl, you get your school. I know that it breaks down, like they have to divide it among a certain percentage among the other schools, but you get $13 million to go to the Orange Bowl. That's just amazing. And that's, and you probably, the person playing in college football probably already paid for the scholarship just by the first year. If your team is really that good. I mean, I know there's some dirt bowls like New Mexico Bowl, and they might only get $750,000. But I mean, parking, food, concessions, and all of that other stuff that goes along with it. I mean, this amount of revenue that these players bring into these schools is just amazing. And the TV contracts and stuff, I'm not saying they should get a paycheck, But you should give them more than what they're putting out because they are paying for the other sports. I didn't see Minnesota say I'm going to cut football, but they wouldn't cut 7 other programs. We don't leave football alone, but we don't get rid of these other programs. But soon, and that's the reason why the 12-team playoff came along, is because they saw how much money that they lost, and they got to recruit that money. So that's why they're going to the 12-team playoffs, and that's my point. It's like these guys are making these schools a whole bunch of money.
I got you, DeAndre. I'm going to move on to some other calls here, but I appreciate you calling in, and thank you so much for the super chat. And DeAndre, always supportive and encouraging other ones, all of you out there to support as well. Thanks, DeAndre.
All right, Mike. Talk to you later. All right, bye.
All right, let's kick it in with, here we go. Hurricane Logan on the line. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, stranger? How are you?
I'm telling you, it's been a while. How you been? I know you've been busy. I caught a tweet or two that basically, hey, you were locked away for quite a long time, just getting the job done for the red, white, and blue.
That's probably the best way to put it professionally. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to speak for a lot of people, I hope, in saying, and you know that I've told you this on our personal phone calls, that we owe a debt of gratitude to you and the rest of the men and women that dedicate your lives to service for this country and protect us and ensure our freedom. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Anybody else who feels that way, thanks. I was wondering, man, it's been so long, so I'm probably going to repeat things that have happened on your shows. How are you feeling about Miami this year? Record-wise, the Alabama game, our depth, just anything that we can just discuss that I haven't really talked to you about in months, I'd say.
All right, we'll take it from the top here. I think that it's going to be intriguing to see Manny Diaz, to see if he truly and his staff can develop a team and develop the players. I think it's long been an issue at Miami that they recruit at a certain level, and this has been going on for at least 15 years, and then those players leave 3 to 4 years later, and they're the same player, more so than at other programs. So I'm was fairly impressed with their progress last year, aside from the North Carolina game that was a debacle. That they were much improved from the previous season, but still a long, long ways away from competing seriously for an ACC championship because of the one team, of course, that they've got to go through. De'Ara King's one of the 5, 6, 7 best quarterbacks in college football. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to prepare like he would. He's still rehabbing. We understand that everything's going well and he's ahead of the curve, and that he shouldn't necessarily have to be totally just rushed and pressed into action against Alabama, that he's actually going to be able to reasonably practice. So my concern for him was that they were going to rush him back. And even if they didn't rush him back, that he was just going to make it off rehab just in time to play Alabama and not be able to properly prepare for a big-time football game with his team during August. So that could still be an issue, because it's one thing to be athletically sound and ready to run and cut and throw the ball. It's another thing to be prepared to play the most dominant team in the sport. So unfortunately, he doesn't get to warm up against Jacksonville State and Bethune-Cookman the first 2 weeks and then play Alabama. And so that's unfortunate that we're not going to see De'Ara King most likely at his best against Bama. I am excited to see Donald Chaney play this year. I thought that he proved to be the best running back on the team. I'm excited that you get these couple 5 stars like Leonard Taylor. Not coming up with the other one. Why am I not? Sean Williams. Pardon me?
James Williams.
Yes, James Williams. Thank you.
No problem.
The receiving core, Mike Harley, I think is rock solid, just a tremendous, very consistent, reliable player. But they need Charleston Rambo to be as good as advertised. I don't know if he's that good, but he's a really capable receiver. But he's going to have to make the plays downfield that, just granted, Mark Pope and D. Wiggins just have repeatedly blown downfield.
Oh boy.
I want to see whether anyone's going to be able to take Phillips, Roche, and Russo's place as the type of pass rushing ends that they've had the last 2 to 3 years.
Right. So I still think that my biggest concern is, like, right now, I'm anxious on the O-line because I don't think our O-line's ever been this experienced or good or with depth like they are. And then on the defensive side, I'm really not worried about the line as much as I am the linebackers, because we've always had those guys as defensive linemen that have even stepped up and you're like, whoa, who's this guy? And then he's that guy all year. But linebacker-wise, it's been a minute, especially with our top three who came in as freshmen and then kind of showed either no progression or regression. So those are my two things that I'm curious on.
Yeah, I think everyone's concerned about the linebacking core and would like to see the younger players given a chance.
I really think the O-line does their job this year. It's going to help it's going to expose how good our quarterbacks are, quarterbacks being plural, and obviously Rhett Lashley and just the staff on offense. O-line has been a big problem in Miami for a while.
Yeah, and if you look at the schedule, Miami is as good. So take out the Alabama game that they're most likely going to lose. I think there's like a 90% certainty that they're going to lose that game. And then you take everybody else, and North Carolina, they got to play that game on the road. That's probably a 60-40 loss, meaning 60% to 40%, but certainly a winnable game. And that's probably going to be the game of the year in the ACC Coastal. And they're substantially better than everybody else. So even if they can't beat a team that's probably better than them, which Alabama is the only team on the schedule that is definitely better than them, North Carolina and them should be very comparable. It shouldn't be anything close to what we saw last year. It shouldn't be. And they're better than everybody else on the schedule. They should go 10-2 minimum. They should.
Anytime there's been a should on our schedule predictions, that's been a disappointment. So, I predict probably 3 losses, and I'd say Bama, North Carolina, and maybe the either the bowl game or the ACC championship game, whichever it may be.
Oh, so you're going to say they are going to go 10-2 in the regular season. They lose to Alabama and North Carolina, then they're going to be 10-2.
Yeah, Man, it's so hard to predict Miami, because if you want to be positive, whether a fan or not, you're going to get hacked on being delusional and all this crazy nonsense, which I'm not. I think that I'm not from my conversations, but, out of all the years that this goes back to when I was younger and I was, 09 with Florida State, and we beat them when they dropped the ball in the end zone with Marcus Fortson, I think. Reasonings behind why it's be good, but I think this year is just different when you look at depth and recruiting and just culture changing slowly but surely. Coaching in general, I think we have better coaches than we've had in a long time on both sides of the ball. So I think that's at least high hopes perspective. Not saying it's natty or bust, but
you still with us, Hurricane? Okay. We have lost a connection. Maybe we lost the connection on the phone call. We shall see here. The phone line just dropped. So we will get back at it here. So my apologies to Hurricane Logan. The line just dropped.
Your balance is too low for this call. Please make
Oh, you know, I know what happened here. I know what happened. That is my phone company, not the call-in studio phone company, but that's my phone company for the, let's see, this would be the 5th time since I switched over to this particular phone carrier that has screwed me. So basically, here's the deal. I got a phone plan, and like everybody else, it's unlimited, just data, minutes, unlimited, regardless of what happens. But I found out, because this has now happened 5 times, because I can tell based on that call exactly what happened. And I'm probably going to get off here, because if I don't jump on this, then it could be a long, long night. That at the phone company, even though you have unlimited minutes, they put a limit on your minutes. And if you exceed that minute total, then your phone service ends. So this has happened to me now 5 times. And I keep saying, after somebody in the tech support finally explained this to me, I said, well, send it up to 1 million, because I talk on the phone a lot. That's all I can say. So unfortunately, what's happened here is this all goes through my phone and my phone service. So I will have to call the phone company to correct that, and want to slap them around a little bit for letting this happen now 5 times. 5 times. 5 times since January. And then they guarantee me that they're going to raise it to some kind of limit that it's never going to be approached. But it is over and over and over. All right, let me make my way through the live chat here. Yakov. So this is what you need to do, Yakov, to get the Amazon link. So on the live streams, I'm not going to go through the whole process of why this doesn't work, but the description's not there right now until the live show's over. So just go to any video and grab the Amazon link. You're going to find it in any video. Appreciate you doing that. Good to see you, Scott. Yes, remember the 1982 Sugar Bowl well, talk is pit. And again, unfortunately, we've got a bad call-in system. Not the call-in system itself. This is on me. This is on my phone plan. And I would love to rake these people over the coals, but I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. But I don't know if anybody else has experienced that like I have, and this now being a 5th time. So it happens basically every month. I should write down the date, whatever today is. It probably happens the same date every month, or very close to it. It's probably near the end of the billing cycle. And again, the first time it happened, I thought, oh, I screwed up. But then I thought, how did I screw up? I've got unlimited everything. How did I screw up? Because the message I get, I don't know if this came across on the broadcast, is that I haven't paid my bill or my balance is overdue. And I'm like, well, it's automatically charged, so that's not possible. Then I get on the line with tech support and they let me know, yeah, it has nothing to do with me. It's all on them. And then they continue to let it happen over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'm going to have to tell them this time, raise the freaking limit to like 1 million minutes. Idiots. Now, how can you be that stupid? So if you run a phone company and you have a plan in which it has unlimited data and minutes, but you internally set limits on that, okay, fine, because maybe it saves you some money or it doesn't over exhaust some kind of system or something. I don't know why they wouldn't just raise it to 1 million, but anyway. And then the customer gets screwed the first time. And so you say, okay, we've got it at this limit. We're going to raise it to that limit so they don't get screwed. Then it runs out again and you screw them again the next month. Then this happens now 5 times. you would think, again, that you would just blow this out for this particular person because they obviously are on the phone all the time. I had phone calls today that lasted, good Lord, let's see here, roughly, well, it's probably just not today, even though I was on the phone a lot today. Wasn't just today. It's a cumulative thing throughout the month, but it's pretty pathetic from this particular phone company, even though they are extremely cheap and the phone service is fine. Other than this is the big issue, but I kind of can't get on them because of what I'm paying. And since we quit the job at ESPN, we're on a tight, strict budget. All right. See a lot of people here in the chat. Let's get to it right here. We got Matastic. Why not? If you win your conference, you're in. If you lose in the conference championship game, you go by your strength of record. All right. So I posted a video this week that basically outlined what I like about the college football playoff system and what I hate about it and what makes absolutely no sense. And so unless somebody asks me specifically, I'm not going to repeat all that. But I have what I think are very clear points praising the new format for a number of accomplishments, a number of clarifications that I think make total sense. But on the flip side, I think they really screwed up. Still, they continue to screw up in a couple areas. And if nobody can figure that out, one guy would. McD, you would know one way they truly screwed up this playoff proposal. Hey, James, good to see you. There you go. There you go. That's what happened right there. This individual knows for sure for a particular reason. So I will text them to let them know what happened because I can't be reached by phone. My phone is dead, not because it's dead, but because my phone service elapsed. Elapsed? And usually it's not a huge deal. It takes like 10 minutes to get it back. But the first time it happened, it took like 3.5 hours. It's unbelievable. But I am paying $21 a month. So got to say that. All right. My apologies for the shortened show, but let me get my phone service back and eat the rest of my dinner. And even despite the issues, Ramon is saying, great show tonight. So maybe the bar is not too high for Ramon. Thank you so much for that. GT nailed 12-team college football scenario on this very show more than 5 months ago. You nailed it. I nailed it. Don't know which way you're going, but thank you so much for the comment there. Everybody, we're on Patreon at 17 cents per day. You help us build the channel. We've got exclusive live streams per request. I remind everybody on Patreon, per request, exclusive live streams. And, of course, support us on Amazon as Yakov is attempting to do. And keep in mind when we're doing a live stream that there's nothing in the description section during the live stream. I've got to populate it after the live stream. But go to any of the videos, grab the Amazon link, put it somewhere where you'll remember it so you can use it to help us grow the channel. It's the same shopping experience. You don't spend a penny, nothing there. All right. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, you can contribute there and you bypass YouTube. And some of you know what that means. I'm not going to detail it here, but basically Your money means more if you hit me up on PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. Just search Mark Rogers TV. And if you're contributing to a specific show, just put that down. All right. And voiceofcollegefootball.com. I talked to my web designer this week, and there are a number of features that I want to add to our website that is going to be quite the undertaking. But I would love to do a fantasy football league, but at the collegiate level, it just appears as though it's going to be a nightmare. And there are really no good college football fantasy leagues out there for me to take and put on the website and have us have a fantasy football league like I would like to. But I've got some other ideas for, in particular, a pick'em league. We could all have a big contest. I'm working on that, as well as providing mine and other expert predictions on the games this year. All right, everyone. Appreciate it. I'm off to talk to the phone company and tell them that they screwed up for a 5th consecutive month. Right here, the Voice of College Football. Tomorrow, Ohio State Live at 2. Miami at 5. Miami at 7. Those are on the team channels right here at the Voice of College Football. See you next time.